Hi, welcome to the Creative Treehouse. My name is Robin Broom and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Thanks for joining me in the treehouse today. Today's project I'm going to just walk you through real quickly. I've made two different very similar Christmas cards, and I used the Peaceful Boughs stamp set, and I also used the dies that go with those, which is the beautiful Boughs, and the die that I used from that set is this one, which gives you that neat border right there. And then I also used this one from the Ornate Layers, and that gave the border for this sentiment, so that's from the Ornate Layers. And then I used the largest rectangle that comes from the rectangle stitched framelits, and that is how we cut out the copper foil. And speaking of the copper foil, that's pretty much how we got all of our dimensions are based off of that, because that particular rectangle changes things up a bit. So let's do our Mossy Meadow, our cardstock, the base of it. That is cut at 5 1/4 by 4 1/8. So not 4 1/4, but 4 1/8. 5 by 4 1/8. And then for your copper foil, you'll just need a piece of copper foil that is at least 4 inches across. A little bit more would be even better so that the frame will fit. And then you will need, this piece is Sahara Sand, and that is cut at 5 by 3 5/8. So just all slightly off, but that's because of trying to coordinate with the stitched rectangle. So let's move these out of the way just for a moment. I will get out some piece of newsprint to be my scratch paper, and I'll walk you through just a little bit of it and talk you through most of it. All right, so starting with the Mossy Meadow, and I'll choose it doesn't matter either one. You're always going to start, or I started with the largest of the stamps, the one that kind of looks like a Y or a V. Okay, now I put some new ink on my Mossy Meadow pad, so there's no telling what this will look like. All right, and then I put it in the top right-hand corner, and the branch goes slightly off, but I try to get most of the needles onto the paper. All right, and then I move to the next size, the next of the branches, and I'll put that to the left of this one, and just kind of butt it up pretty close, same angle and everything. And then we move to our smallest one. All right, so we'll put this little guy down here, all going about at the same angle. So then you've got all of your branches. Then the next thing that you'll need to do is you will take, well, I think the next thing we should do is we'll use the Balmy Blue. Let me close up the Mossy Meadow, and I'll use Balmy Blue, and I will use a dauber. Now my Balmy Blue has snow on it for some reason, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Okay, and to dauber, I just started at the top and made it darker, went several passes, and pretty much doing circles as I go, and doing more daubing when it comes to the branches and the needles, so there's not too much blue covering up the needles. And just move on down, and then when you get past the needles into the open area, you'll still put some blue, but then you're going to kind of soften it and kind of fade it out. So again, I'll go around this branch and soften it, and then I'll add a little more on the sides and the top, and wherever you think you need it the most. And I think I just love the way that looks. It almost looks real to me. Okay, and then now we'll move to using the Early Espresso pencil, watercolor pencil, and I'm just coloring in the branch, not the needles, just the branch. too many needles to, I think, to color in. So I just do just the branch. And now I have not gone through and used the blender pen, but you certainly could do that. I find it makes it a little bit darker, stands out. Okay, so that was your Early Espresso for the branch, and I just threw my pen onto the floor. All right, so that's the main thing that I wanted to show you. All right, and then I'll show you, I've already cut this out, and typically I do the opposite. I actually stamp and then I'll cut it out to be sure that my letters are straight. You could also choose to do the Stamparatus if you wanted to. So again, using the Mossy Meadow, I'll stamp the sentiment, and then using, probably moving to Old Olive, a little bit lighter, I'll take and I will use the dauber and go over the edges. And it just makes a little bit of a difference. Just adds just a little more interest to it. And then another thing that I did was to add a little bit more interest was to take little teeny tiny pieces of the copper foil and place them underneath, glue them underneath the little diamonds. So, okay, I'll show you that. So here's one of those itty bitty, it's about 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch. Because you don't want it to be able to show, and then you will just glue it. Put a little bit of glue, Tombow glue works, and you will glue it. And also your multi-purpose tool works really well too to pick it up, and you'll just set it there and glue it, and then it will look like this one. And I'll twist it around a little bit so that you can see it reflecting in the light. So there's just little bits of copper underneath there, and it just matches and goes with the copper border that we put there. All right, and then the difference between the vertical and the horizontal is that on the horizontal one I used the For Unto Us stamp set, which I dearly, dearly love, and I used just the one sentiment here, but I love all these sentiments. They're just awesome. It was my first purchase from the new mini catalog. So on here I used Night of Navy for that sentiment, and I used a Balmy Blue to dauber around the edges of that one. And I used the dots from the Peaceful Boughs set, and I embossed. I used the Versamark and embossed with white embossing powder. Now, how did I get the snow on there? That was an interesting experiment. I got it on there by using the shimmery white embossing paste. Now my shimmery white embossing paste is a little on the dry side. So even though I had it enclosed, and so I ended up taking some of it, and I just took it and I kind of just made snow out of it like that. Now I experimented a lot on different glues and what would work the best. I never had the Crystal Effects, and I'm sorry that it's retired, because that would probably also have worked. I tried the thin tip liquid glue and was not very successful with that. The thing that I had the most success with is the Tombow liquid glue, and I just dotted that in different places and then sprinkled the snow on top, and that's what I did. I also heat embossed it just a little, but you have to be careful don't heat emboss it from the top, because the snow will just all blow away. Your heat embosser gun will act like a snow blower, and your snow will disappear. So I think that's all about this. If you have any questions, if I left anything out, feel free to comment, ask me a question. And I love to look at the comments, and I'll try to reply back. And also I would love it if you would push the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. And I think that's it for today, guys. Thanks for coming into the treehouse today and watching. And seeing how we made these Christmas cards, and I hope you try it and let me know how you did it and if you had some success with gluing the snow or what snow conditions your embossing paste is in. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.